Hello. Hi. My name is Astrid. Welcome. I'm a psychic oracle and mentor, and this is the Sacred Gray. This is an important video. I want you to try to stick around. This is not a reading. This is an explanation of the North and South Node, an introduction to me, what is the Sacred Gray, and a few promises that I'm going to make to you. First off, what is a North and South Node? If you generate your natal chart, you will find two placements, the North Node, the South Node. They're always in direct opposition to each other. They are mathematical placements, not celestial bodies. The North Node, there's argument on this, like there's discussion. What is agreed upon is that the North Node is an expression of what it is in this life we are meant to stretch into, what we're not comfortable with yet. So it can be a challenge, but it's one of those things that like we find fulfillment and a sense of purpose when we jump into that path a little bit. And the South Node is something that like we are more comfortable with. Some people say it is representative of a past life, something that we came into this life with that we're really familiar with. For example, if you have your North Node in Capricorn, your South Node would be in Cancer. So your South Node is indicating that you are very comfortable with putting up defenses, especially regarding your heart and your emotions, particularly possibly, women and the feminine and the mother. The North Node is asking you to kind of stretch into this level of personal responsibility and like adulthood, quote unquote, that would be very uncomfortable with that South Node in Cancer, because with that placement, you might be very reliant on the archetypal mother's presence in your life. And so stretching into that Capricorn coldness might be kind of difficult. So why do I read according to North Node as opposed to Sun, Moon, and Rising, most popular? Well, because I find it to be more fulfilling. When we fall on the path of the North Node, something that I think is also commonly agreed upon among people who follow the North Node, God and when I say God, I'm speaking to kind of like the umbrella of divine energies that surround us. Any deities, angels, ancestors, guides, and also all-knowing spirit, right? The Most High. God kind of blesses us in ways that are more abundant, just very helpful. There's divine help that comes when we follow the path of the North Node, kind of an accelerated personal expansion. I am pretty fiercely pursuant of the North Node. I hope that you adopt this as well. I have found it to have pretty great payoff. Now, as far as kind of adopting it, this is something I wanted to discuss here too, is like, well, how do you do that? What does the path of the North Node look like? And I can really only speak for myself here. This is a very personal experience. What I kind of go for, kind of balance. There are things in my life that I can very clearly identify as being South, like this is South Node and this is North Node. And so South Node things offer me kind of comfort, physical, material, sensory comfort, whereas the North Node helps me expand personally and really, really challenges me, pushes me beyond what I believe I might be able to achieve in my personal relationships, in my studies, etc. There's something about being able to identify where the North and the South Node are present in my life that, like, if I can make it like marked, that's a North Node thing, that's a South Node thing, it allows me to strike a kind of balance. She's got a Libra sun. So I like balance. But however this looks for you, again, it's very personal. So get in touch with and study on your own. Like, what is my North Node placement? What is my South Node placement? And what does that say about me? What house are they in? And we'll learn about it and see what people say. Maybe talk to an astrologer, see what they say. And then try it on your own. Try identifying how those placements manifest in your life and in your day-to-day experience. And then, you can think about ways to follow that stretching into the North Node a little bit more actively and just see how your life changes. Just see what happens. Circle back and let me know what's up. If you're someone who's already pursuant of the North Node, I would really love to hear from you. My email is in the bio of all of my, or in the description of all of my videos. I just would love to, I would just love to hear your thoughts on this. Another thing, who am I? So I came here from TikTok. Years ago, I went viral for a video about manifestation. Took that as an opportunity to share my gift as a tarot reader. I experienced a lot of growth and I was able to get my business back up off the ground. A previous run at this work years and years ago, and I got my business back up. I got running and I had a lot of growth, so much so that I kind of grew out of it. And now I'm at a point in my life where all of the twists and turns and things that have changed for me recently, I'm very grateful for that. The door got really small, if this makes sense. I feel that I truly outgrew TikTok. When I came here to YouTube and was like looking around, I mean, YouTube oh my God, I consider myself to be like an OG YouTube like content consumer. I love it. Okay. But my journey of like getting into this realm of YouTube, I started to realize like, oh, this is like a totally different caliber of readers, and something that I identified with a lot more. My decision to come here was actually following a pretty weird chapter of my life, deeply karmic chapter of my life. Really experienced a lot of personal growth, and a lot of light was shed on some things that just previously had like one look to them, and then like eventually like had a completely different look to them, if this makes sense. So after all of that, I found that I was in a much kind of different mental state, and thus my offerings shifted, and I just didn't really take joy in making TikTok content in the way that I once did, and I needed to build a bigger door. So that brought me here, and I'm so grateful to be here. This is a privilege to act as a steward and provide service at any point on your journey. I have a vision of what I want to build here, and I would encourage you to stick with me while we create it together. Aside from that, I am kind of known for being someone who puts it straight. I don't want to waste your time. We're in a very delicate, like pivotal point of world history, and particularly American history. I don't know where you're at in the world, but I'm in California, and I don't really know what it's going to look like in a year, in 2 years. Filming this at the end of January in 2025. It's a weird time to be an American. And so I've always felt this way, but like I'm really feeling it right now, where it's like, I cannot provide anything to you if I am like not integral to what I would want for myself. And I want someone who's going to give me guidance that respects my time and respects my complexity as a person. I want to grow. And I'm assuming if you're here that you want to grow. I want to learn. I want to expand. I want to have success in my life. I want to have joy in my life. There are things that I want. And so when I follow, like, I'm not just like consuming tarot readings, like, or collective readings or astrology content. Like, I'm not using these tools just to kind of like, it's not an instant gratification hit for me. This is a tool for me to develop as a person, and to be a better person, and to create the life that I want to create the success, the goals, the life that I want to live, to have the relationships that I want to live. And so my promise to you is to keep that in mind, that you also have things to do, right? And that you have places to be. Every one of my readings has purpose. But that also means, in valuing personal development and kind of towing that line, like mentors, very intentional. Some of my statements they can shoot between the eyes, if you will. I am assuming that you are equipped to not take things personally, but instead get curious. If I say something that maybe like trips you up a little bit and you're like, whoa, like I don't really know if I like that, I'm assuming that you're someone who has the wherewithal to understand that when something triggers you or ruffles your feathers a little bit, that you are actually not supposed to get angry about that or upset about that, but rather to get curious about it. Why did you have that reaction? I am assuming that because I respect you and because I love you, so I'm assuming that you are wise enough to have that level of self-awareness. I'm assuming that you're smart to be able to peel back the layers. But that said, I have bedside manner. It's kind of baked into this profession. So like, I'm not going to be out here just like, I'm not talking to my friends or someone that I'm like freaking out at, right? Like, oh my God, this guy's terrible, blah, 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 blah. No. Like I'm here to support you. I'm here to bolster your success. I don't want you to feel bad after you watch one of my videos. I want you to feel prepared. I want you to feel supported. I want you to feel empowered. But I also want you to understand that personal accountability is something that I deeply, deeply value. So I am the type of person, and if you followed me here from TikTok, then you know this, but like, I'm more than likely going to tell you very straight, like, if you're the problem, I'm going to ask you to question how in this situation might you be the problem. And because the philosophy behind that is like, it all comes back to us. Everything that happens in this life, we have to circle back to us. Our joy, our experiences, our struggles, our turmoils, everything comes back to I, right? So if you're claiming I am the creator of my reality, which I can assume that you are, if you're claiming to have that power, then you also need to claim personal accountability, right? With power comes responsibility. And so I'm assuming that my audience knows that. I'm assuming that you can see certain challenges that I pose to you in our time together in my readings. I'm assuming that you can see those things as help. that excites me. There's nothing I love more than to really dig into the crux of an issue and like see my own ass, or like show you your ass. Like, look, it's fucking ugly, isn't it? Let's talk about it. Like, I love it. And that's just a joy that I have. It's a joy that I have to look at what's ugly in life, you know, and find what we can make of it, right? Find the beauty in it, right? Because there's always beauty in it. And this kind of brings me to my next point. What the fuck is the sacred gray? Because this all kind of ties in. So when I was kind of preparing for this like relaunch, if you will, I kind of popped off of social media for a while, and because I was dealing with a bunch of stuff, and then I came back, and now I'm here on YouTube. And so I had to do a lot of like soul searching, and I had to do a lot of thinking about what I am and who I am and what I'm bringing to you. And so when I thought of the sacred gray, I was thinking about like, because I do find it to be true that black and white is, God is not black or white. God is in the gray, very much so. And if we think about the High Priestess card, she has very intentionally placed herself between the pillars of polarity. She is the gatekeeper for the knowledge of the subconscious, of what is unknown, but also like makes a lot of sense at the end of the day. And she only seems to like provide admittance to people who are refamiliarizing themselves with this knowledge. Okay. And she is the gatekeeper. She is beholden to this knowledge. I believe that's the right word. And so I don't place her as God. I don't place God, you know, and I said this, but I don't place God as any one figure. When I say God, most of the time I'm referencing, it's kind of an umbrella term, but all that is within that space between the polarities, that is the gray. That is where we find God. That is where we find the process. That is where we find a lot of information and a lot of wisdom. And here on this channel and in this space, I try my best to hold space for what is gray. Does that make sense? I will always offer contrasting opinions or takes or perspectives. I love to do like the devil's advocate thing, you know. And I also promise, you know, this is kind of backpedaling a little bit, but I do promise to never, I want to say that I will do my best to never project my values onto you. You know, I think that we're living in a time right now where people are just like projecting their values onto everybody, and like I could literally care less. I might speak with conviction, but you're your own person. And so when I'm communicating to you in this gray area, right, in this gray space, I'm acknowledging, while I'm pointing out what might seem to be an issue, what spirit is pointing out, like, hey, you need to show this to them, because that's how spirit works through me, is like they give me a chance to help you, to mentor you, to coach you with something. While I am offering this like mentor type of language, I also promise to not, you know, project my value system, because for a few reasons. One, I'm a pretty private person, but two, I don't fucking care. I don't care about your values. I'm assuming you don't care about my values. I do have a very, very strong value system. I do have a very strong set of beliefs, and those are mine, just like yours are yours. So I'm not going to tell you like one thing is this and one thing is that. No, everything is on a spectrum. So really the only thing that I am pointing out that, you know, maybe I take issue with, this is all coming back to whether or not you're operating in love or fear. That's the only time spirit is ever like, hey, you need to help them with this. What is anchoring the deck in the reading? What is the overall energy? What are your motivations? If I peel it back a little bit further, well, what's there? And I promise you to always do that work and help you identify where in your life you might be operating from a place of fear, and then provide you the tools as best I can to kind of pull yourself out of that and shift to a place of love, all while staying in that gray area of, you know, there is no right way to do things. Hey, there is a higher truth here. But I promise that I always have like your best interest in mind, and that if I am highlighting what seems to be a wound, or what seems to be, you know, you operating from a place of fear, that again, it is out of love and respect for your time. We can't go through this life operating from a fear-based place. That's not, I want you to enjoy this life. I do. So in the sacred gray, we explore sacred wisdom. All of that is with the purpose of a sense of fulfillment and joy and personal expansion and love. Why would I point something out just to say like, hey, you made a mistake. Look what you did. Like, I'm not pointing fingers here, even though I might literally point a finger at you if I get firm with you, if it's one of those moments where I'm really not fucking holding your hand. Again, it's not because I want to belittle you or I want to point a finger at you. It's because I need you to look at yourself for a second. Maybe God's been trying to get you to look at yourself for a minute, and God's using me in that moment to say like, hey, you need to tell them, right? Because there's a way that I speak. So again, all of this is coming from a place of gratitude, that I'm grateful that I can be here to serve you in this way. And in my personal practice as being pursuant of the North Node, my North Node, right? I find that this work is incredibly valuable and aligned with exactly what feels like I am meant to be doing in this life. And I want to help you find that as well, which is exactly why I read for the North Node on this channel. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So couple of things. We are pretty early in the maturation of the sacred gray. I am actively studying a couple of things that I would like to offer. So as time goes on, I do really plan on kind of expanding what is underneath the umbrella of the sacred gray. So I encourage you to really stick around, because this is, I found that like looking at my life through the lens of astrology, that I am really meant to leave behind a body of work that contributes to the society of those who study occult sciences and those who work in esoteric wisdom and knowledge. I want there to be something left over even after I'm gone. So in encouraging you to subscribe and kind of be a part of this journey, it's not just because I'm like, oh yeah, like I want the subs. No, like not at all. I want to build a community where we can witness each other go through a growth arc. And I plan on leaving something great behind for this community of interest. I don't really know what that's going to look like yet, because Spirit hasn't really made it clear to me, but I would love for you to be here when it is made clear to me and when I can make it clear to you, because I have a good feeling about it. So that's just to say, like, I would love to get to know you. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I would love to, get an email from you. I would love to meet with you. I do offer, one-on-one sessions. I'm not really taking a lot of clients right now, but I'm happy to chat with you. We can do a consultation and see if we're the right fit. And this last little bit here, I just want to say, I never ever want you to feel unwelcome. I'm certainly not for everybody, but I am, at the end of the day, a soft little baby. And so even though I communicate in one way, I want you to know that I am just full of love. And just like you, I've had a lot of experiences in this life that have kind of, but it's all kind of alchemized into this ability to coach and to teach in a way that seems to be really effective and really works for me. And Spirit really delivers opportunities to me wherein I can provide effective coaching to my communities, people in my life, because that just seems to be the best form of communication for my gifts. I don't ever want to scare anyone away, right? I do my best not to yell. I do my best to keep it really calm, but that can be a little hard. I can be a little rambunctious and I can get a little passionate, but I would encourage you just to laugh with me. Life is never really that serious, and hard times really don't last for long. And sometimes we discuss things that are really hard, because I love getting into the real stuff. Again, I'm not here to waste your time. Let's get into the meat of things so that you can carry on with your life. I hope you're okay with that. I'm really happy to have you here. I gotta wrap this video up. Thank you so much for being here and checking me out and seeing what's up. If you have any, one thing I would really love to hear is if you have preferences or like thoughts or like anything. If you're just like, hey Astrid, like, think about this, like I saw this one time and I really love this, like I'm definitely working on expanding my offerings and expanding what it is that I'm bringing to the table for you guys. And I want to make sure that it's something of true value to you on your journey. And so while I'm cooking back here, I'm always down for suggestions or like thoughts and feedback and criticism. And I'm no shy to criticism. Okay. So I'm never shy to criticism. I'm no stranger to criticism. I take it really well. Okay. So if you saying like, hey Astrid, you suck, like I would say why. And then I would love to hear your thoughts. But you know, that said, be nice in the comments. You know what's crazy? Just like side note, you can dislike videos. Do you know how diabolical it is to dislike a video on a small creator's channel? I came across this. People dislike my videos. There's been 2 videos now where I've had like dislikes. I'm like, diabolical. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers. Like, what are we talking about here? Crazy. Anyways, so yeah, free ways to support, you know, drop a comment, drop a like, share the video, subscribe, do whatever you want, but just know that at the end of the day, I love you and we're all just doing our best. And I promise to always do my best for you. Okay, so I hope to see you around. All right, kid. Take care of yourselves.